Fortnite Chapter 3, a new island full of mysteries, and it's about time we start looking into what will play out in the years ahead. The identities of the Seven, the snow mystery, and most importantly, the first live event of Chapter 3 all covered in this video. And so to kick it off, we have the Imagined Order mystery. One of Fortnite's biggest and most important villains is nowhere to be seen in Chapter 3. There's a huge mystery right now asking, where's the Imagined Order? And while the storyline reaches climax in the Chapter 2 finale, don't worry, it is not slowing down anytime soon. It turns out that the Imagined Order will be making their way onto the Chapter 3 island very soon, and they are not happy with the Seven flipping the island. Sloan and the IO are drilling their way to the current map, and they are making a lot of progress. I'm gonna tell you, this is a problem, because right now the Seven are living at the Sanctuary, and they are terrified. The scientists claim that if the Imagined Order were to do a counterattack, they would be essentially screwed. And it looks like that might be about to happen. If you pay attention to the upcoming drill sites, they all appear to actually be cornering the Sanctuary. And that doesn't look very good for the Seven, and it's gonna get even worse. Soon we'll be getting IO camps, and new types of IO guards will appear on the island, and they are way more intimidating than ever before. These robotic Terminator guys will also be joined by a new IO group boss that has a mythic Stinger SMG, so they're really stepping up their firepower in Chapter 3. And so with the Imagined Order's mystery solved, there's still a lot of big questions this season, especially when it comes to the Chapter 1 map mystery. When Fortnite revealed that there was actually a flip side to the island, it kind of blew all of our minds, but things got even weirder when it turned out that the Chapter 3 map had a few OG POIs on it. This was a cool nod, but then the Chapter 1 references got a little too close. For example, the layout of the Chapter 3 island is almost the exact same as the original Chapter 1 map. And this is super weird, especially because Donald Mustard told us that the Chapter 2 island was the Chapter 1 map reorganized. So obviously there's a huge question mark here. Things just don't add up. And so right now it seems that the best theory out there is that all of the islands we know were kind of mixed and mashed together. So there's Chapter 1 POIs here, Chapter 2 ones there. It's a mess, honestly. Hopefully Fortnite clears this one up, but luckily the island has more intriguing mysteries that have actually been answered, like the snow mystery. Spread throughout the new island, there is a lot to unpack. There's entire POIs covered in ice, heaps of snow that are literally breathing. It is crazy. And so when we first jumped into Chapter 3, these were massive mysteries, but now they have been solved as the snow melts more and more with each passing week. Soon the snow level will drop enough to reveal a new animal known as Buttercake, which looks adorable in the Chapter 3 trailer and horrifying in the poster. So I guess we'll find out which version we'll be getting once the snow melts. We also know that Tilted Towers will be returning after years. Right now it is covered head to toe in ice, but obviously comparing the mini-map icon to OG Tilted, you can see the similarities. And if you need a further confirmation, look at the loading screen in the Battle Pass. I mean, Epic really thought they were slick hiding this one in plain sight. But by far, the biggest question when it comes to the island snow is, will it stick around forever? We all love how amazing and fresh the snowy island feels, and now that it's melting, we're all pretty worried that it's gonna vanish. Some leakers claim that it'll completely disappear and the island will look like this once the snow has melted, while other leakers claim the island will actually look like this. Now, if it does end up having this equal mix of all the biomes, it'll absolutely be the best outcome. I think we're all praying the snow sticks around. And luckily there's evidence to suggest it actually will be. Yes, the Fortnite crew skin for January 2022 has been leaked, and it's Snow Stealth Sloan. Her entire outfit is themed around camouflaging into the snow, and her leaked trailer even has her running around in snowy areas. With Sloan not coming out until January, this is great news for all of us who love the snow. But by far the biggest, most talked about, and also the most interesting mystery in Fortnite history has to be the Seven mystery and their identities. Okay, there are a lot of questions surrounding the Seven. For years we've been trying to figure out not only the identities of them, but also where they have been, what they've been doing for the last 3 chapters. I mean, there's a lot. But thanks to this season, almost everything has been solved. And for the mysteries still remaining, we are on the brink of getting the answers we need. So let's start with their identities. We already know about the Foundation, the Scientist, the Visitor, and the Paradigm, but thanks to 7 mysterious totems over at the Sanctuary, we've learned the names of the final 3, introducing the Sisters and the Origin. And until a few days ago, that's all we had, until now, because all 3 of them have been leaked in a Fortnite survey that reveals exactly what they look like. And so firstly, we have the Sisters, who look like 2 normal Fortnite skins until you dig a little deeper. For example, they have similar belts to the Seven, the same breathing tubes. It's pretty compelling, not to mention who else looks more like actual sisters than these 2. But for the Origin, he is pretty much confirmed at this point. This is what the Origin looks like, and there's so much here to unpack. Not only does he have probably the coolest suit design out of the entire 7, but he also has some weird connections to the Cube Queen and the Last Reality. If you put them side by side, the Origin has the same pointy crown design around his neck and also has the exact same purple cube energy coming from his hands. So it sure seems like there's a much bigger connection between the Last Reality and the Seven than we first thought. And that brings us to the Seven's timeline. Right now they're living at the Sanctuary, and this has been revealed to be the home of the Seven, but that raises a lot of questions, like, if the Seven has been living on the flip side this whole time, why are they known for their meteors? I mean, think about it, both the Visitor and the Foundation came to the island on meteors, and we've been scratching our heads wondering how this adds up, because you'd think the Seven would be living in space. Well, we worked out a solid timeline that might explain everything about the Seven, so let's get into it. Back in Chapter 1, the Seven were living on the flip side of the island over at the Sanctuary. They designed their airtight suits that would protect them from the effects of the loop, but had to test it. So they sent out the visitor to the Chapter 1 island in order to test the suits, but he couldn't use the bridge, otherwise they would reveal their location to the imagined order. So they sent him on a meteor and the visitor's suit worked. But in order to get back home, the visitor used the villain's rocket and ripped it back to the flip side. Eventually, this rift to the flip side stayed open, and someone actually began using it. Probably the last reality or someone with ties to the Cube Queen sent Kevin through it. Eventually, we're at Season X, and the Seven have to work together to save the 0 point from exploding because they need to protect the bridge. If the bridge is lost, then they'll lose all chance of freeing the 0 point. Once that happens, Chapter 2 comes around, and now the Seven are back at the Sanctuary coming up with a plan to take down the imagined order for good. Midway through the chapter, the IO, aka John Jones, actually tries to get in contact with them through the portal gun. So the Foundation heads to the island on a meteor. Why would he do this? Well, either he did it as a precaution just in case it was a trap, or he did it to try and make the IO think the Seven were in space and conceal their location. Either way, he does a deal with John Jones to save the 0 point once again, and then be taken to Geno, the leader of the imagined order. After a bunch of stuff with the loop, Gotham City, we finally get to the Chapter 2 finale. The Seven's plan to take down the imagined order has come to fruition, and they save John Jones from the IO, then proceed to flip the island. But unfortunately, flipping the island was just one of the many phases in their plan, and before they can continue, the last reality messes everything up. Now here we are, the island has been flipped and the Seven's plan failed. As you know, the imagined order are drilling to begin their counterattack, and things are not looking good. And so with that, there is one more question: who is the Paradigm? And I gotta say, it looks like the Paradigm has a lot of focus on her at the moment. The scientist is trying to get in touch with her so she can help them defend against the imagined order's counterattack, and it sure looks like they have a damaged history together. There's a huge theory that the Paradigm used to be a member of the Seven before leaving and renaming herself to Singularity. She tried to be her own vigilante and protect the 0 point in her own way, but it seemed that the Seven need her help once more. Despite their differences, they need her if they're gonna survive against the IO, and the scientist has actually received a ping from the Paradigm, meaning she might be returning in the next few weeks to help them prepare defenses. All of this is leading up to a huge live event at the end of the season that pits the Seven against the IO. With Slow making her way to the island and the Paradigm stepping in to help, all of the puzzle pieces are finally beginning to fall in place. But before we talk about the finale, there is one other character who has to be one of the greatest mysteries of Chapter 3 so far, and that is Midas. Back in Chapter 2, we all kind of accepted that Midas' story was completed. He tried to break the loop, and he failed, and then we never really saw much of him again. Some people assumed he was dead, while others just thought he had given up and moved on. But when Donald Muster was teasing Chapter 3 a few weeks ago, he specifically stated that Midas wasn't dead and teased that he might actually be making a return in the future. And so fast forward to Chapter 3's release, and there's a single building on the map that holds a massive secret. It's just a restaurant with no signs or markings, but if you go inside, it gets really interesting. Menus and napkins actually have a gold letter M on them, and if this wasn't weird enough, you could head to the pedestal near the door and actually see the exact same book from Midas' office in Season 2. This is either a cool nod, an Easter egg, or Epic just blindly reusing assets, or it's a teaser, just like Donald's Midas video. Epic is always very intentional with these types of things, so I wouldn't put it past them. Either way, it's all leading up to the climax of the season, and we're wondering what it'll be. Trust me, you have to pay attention to the rocket launch mystery. Chapter 3 is shaping up to be one of the most promising chapters we have ever seen in Fortnite. We are only weeks in, and people are calling this one of the best seasons in years. There's one mysterious place on the map that might be the center of the season-ending live event, and that is the launch pad. Usually you look at a POI like this and think it was just a cool nod to the Season X event, but this is Fortnite. Everything is there for a reason. One of the biggest questions is, will the launch pad actually do something? Well, it looks like that question has been answered, as leakers have discovered that the live event for this season will have a build-up, and it'll actually involve the Seven's famous rockets. And so, well, it looks like the rocket launch mystery isn't that big of a surprise after all. We cannot wait to see what happens. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's been Tommy, and keep it here on Top 5 Gaming.